Some more scientific papers have come out about the increase in CO2 over this year's increase in CO2 over last year's. And it's absolutely mind-boggling what is happening with the environment and how serious it really is. People aren't taking it seriously when they should. Let's just go over what they found, because we've talked about this in the past, but it's just yet another group of scientists that have found basically the same thing as the last group of scientists. More record-breaking increases in CO2 levels in the atmosphere. The average concentration in March was 4.7 parts per million higher than the same period last year. That's only a year difference, and it's 4.7 parts per million higher. We have never seen that before, and this is backup to the last study that found the same thing. Different ways of studying it, but they're backing each other up so that we know what we're looking at is real and not some kind of glitch. That's the way science works. The increase has been spurred by burning of fossil fuels and deforestation, is what they have found. It's really significant to see the pace of the increase over the first 4 months of this year. It's even going up faster this year. These measurements were started in 1958. CO2 levels are still rising, and in order to stabilize the climate, you need CO2 levels to be falling, and that isn't happening. Now, to see the seriousness of it, let's go over to these charts, because I always like to show you a backup to what I'm saying, so that the naysayers have to really push to try and tell us that it isn't really happening when it is. And I'll just let the charts to do their own talking of how badly the situation is. Now, unfortunately, I read yet another paper that came out yesterday that says that the increases are going up so fast that we probably have about 5 years at the present rate of increase before catastrophic situations happen. Crop failure, water degradation, super droughts, serious fires, including towns and possibly even a city burning down because of the severe heat and the wind and the dry air that will accompany these fires. See, all these things are going to come all at once. You're going to have super migration of people coming up from the south, whatever country it is, and you're going to see a huge, here in the U.S., you're going to see a huge pileup of bodies at the metal wall between us and Mexico. And we're not going to know what to do with so many dead bodies. And the stink is going to drive people in Arizona, New Mexico, and parts of Texas out of that area. So then there'll be more migration from that. You have a problem with wet bulb temperatures that are going to be driving the south and the southeast up north at the same time, because you won't be able to survive wet bulb temperatures. Please look up wet bulb temperatures and find out what it is we're talking about. There is a maximum before humans will die and other animals will die, and you'll end up with a big mess. There's also crop failure. Crop failures are already starting. They're going to become more and more, and there's no more land to grow crops on. The further north you get, the less the ground can support growing food, because there was never a time when the ground has become fertilized enough to grow crops. So it's going to be more difficult to grow crops in rocky soil that has never had much in the way of vegetation on it to break down the soil so that more vegetation can grow. So we're really in a pickle right now, and it's getting worse and worse, faster and faster. Just the last 4 months is blowing scientists away about how fast the CO2 increase is happening. Now, unfortunately, here in the U.S., we have a presidential election coming up. We have 2 candidates. Both love fossil fuel, but one, the orange, likes it much more and is more dependent on it than the blue candidate. Now, unfortunately, we cannot afford to drill, baby, drill. If we do, what would happen is that we would end up, instead of 5 years, we'd have 3 years or 4 years before hell breaks loose. Do you really want the orange team to be in charge when all this hell starts to break loose? It's obviously going to come one way or another in about 4 to 5 years, maybe 6 years, if we can really start to stabilize the environment, which is very doubtful because there isn't a person out there that's going to stop driving those big SUVs and these big gas-guzzling cars and demand 3-car garage, humongous house that everybody says they want here in the U.S., that they thrive for, and the 4 kids or the 3 kids that they have to add to overpopulation, meaning more demand on the food and the fresh water that we're quickly running out of. And all this is going to happen in about 4 to 5 years, maybe even 6 years, if we're lucky. But that's not even talking about the severity of the storms that are coming, the bigger tornadoes, the bigger hurricanes, the rising seas that will start to flood out many urban areas around the U.S. and other countries. All this is coming very, very quickly, and we aren't taking it seriously. We keep coming up with this, oh, it's a hoax. Everything's a damn hoax these days. Everything is a hoax according to the orange side of things. And it just doesn't seem to want to quit. So if we were to be stupid enough to put the orange into office, we're only just making things much worse, much faster. And you have to admit that the blue isn't quite as bad as the orange, though both of them love fossil fuels and are dependent on it for votes. So it's up to us to stop using fossil fuels in any way we can. Less use of plastic, less use of the big automobile. You can go with an electric vehicle for local transportation. You could use local buses and muni systems to get you around. Whatever you can do, but it's coming, and it's coming fast, and it's going to come within probably 2 to 3 years. We're going to really start noticing it, especially the temperatures during the summer and the extreme fires and the extreme weather that is going to accompany it. So that's all I have to say, is that it's up to us. We can't rely on the government to do it all for us, because they're too busy trying to get votes and endlessly drifting, trying to get money from people. That's what their main goal is to get money from you and me to pay for their millionaire lifestyle. And yes, most of these people that run for office are millionaires, are almost billionaires. So why should we give them a single penny? I don't understand it. So any comments would be appreciated. Do your own research. See what the scientists are saying. But it is coming, and there's not much we can do about it if we don't do anything about it. I appreciate your ups, your new subscribers, and definitely your comments. And until next time.